me. Just happened that I had a father who was beautiful, nice and clever, and could give me anything I liked. Perhaps I have not really a good temper at all. But if you have everything you like, and everyone is kind to you, how could you help but be good-tempered? I don't know. How shall I ever find out whether I am a nice child or a horrid one? Perhaps I am a hideous child, and no one will ever know, just because I never have any trials. And trials would come for little Sarah Crewe. Princess Sarah, as she was affectionately called, was a generous and sweet 9-year-old, a diamond mine heiress whose father had left her in the care of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary while he went to fight bravely in the war. But by her 10th birthday, she would end up an orphan, abused, neglected, and suffering alone in misery over the tragic death of her father. The only thing she had left was her brilliant imagination and her good character. But in the bleak, damp winter, hungry and worked to death, could she keep pretending the pain away? Would she still be generous? This little princess would face the ultimate test, as her luxuries were stripped away and her status was reduced to that of a beggar girl. Is being a princess a status of wealth or a state of character? A Little Princess by Hodgson, Burnett. I can't bear this. I know I shall die. I'm cold, wet, starving to death. I have walked 1,000 miles today, and they've done nothing but scold me from morning till night. And because I could not find the last thing Miss Minchin sent me for, she would not give me any supper. Some men laughed at me because my old shoes made me slop down in the mud. Oh, I am covered in mud. When she had been the Princess Sarah, the sight of her bright, eager face and picturesque coats and hats had often caused people to look at her. A happy, beautifully cared-for little girl naturally attracts attention. Shabby, poorly dressed children are not rare enough or pretty enough to make people turn around to look at them and smile. No one looked at Sarah in these days. I promised Papa I'd bear it. Papa was a soldier, and he would bear war and thirstiness, deep wounds, and he would never say a word. If I go on pretending, I shall bear it better. You don't forget, but you bear it better. It would be much easier to be a princess if I were dressed in gold. But it's a great deal more of a triumph to be one when nobody knows it. I pretend I'm a princess so that I can try and behave like one. For several days it had rained continuously. The streets were chilly and sloppy, full of dreary, cold mist, and there was sticky mud everywhere. Sarah was sent out again and again until her shabby clothes were damp through and her shoes could not hold any more water. Added to this, she had been deprived of her dinner because Miss Minchin had chosen to punish her. She was so cold, hungry, and tired. She had to pretend and suppose with all of the strength left in her. What you have to do with your mind when your body is miserable is to make it think of something else. Suppose I had dry clothes on. Suppose I had a long, thick coat and warm stockings and a whole umbrella. Suppose just when I was near a baker's shop where they sold hot buns, I should find a sixpence which belonged to no one. Suppose then I should go into the shop and buy 6 of the hottest buns and eat them all without stopping. Some very odd things happen in this world sometimes. Certainly was an odd thing that happened to Sarah. She had to cross the street just when she was saying this to herself, and in looking down, she saw something shining in the gutter. It was actually a piece of silver. Not quite a sixpence, but the next thing to it, a 4-penny piece. She looked at the shop directly facing her, and it was a baker's shop. A cheerful, stout, motherly woman was putting into the window a tray of delicious hot buns. It almost made Sarah feel faint. The shock, the sight of the buns, with the delightful odors of warm bread. She knew she need not hesitate, but she saw something that made her stop. A little figure, more forlorn than myself. A little figure not much more than a bundle of rags, from which small, bare, red, muddy feet peeped out. Above the rags, a head of tangled hair, a dirty face, with big, hollow, hungry eyes. This is one of the populace. She is hungrier than I am. Are you hungry? Anna, just Anna, haven't you had any dinner? No dinner? No yet? No breakfast? No supper? No nothing? Since when? Dunno. Never got nothing today, nowhere. I've asked and asked. I am a princess. I am a princess. And they were poor and driven from their thrones. They always shared the populace. If they met one poorer or hungrier than themselves, they always shared. Buns are a penny each. If it were a sixpence, I could have eaten the whole six. It won't be enough for either of us, but it'll be better than nothing. Wait a minute. Ding. Do you want to buy something? Oh, yes. 4 buns, if you please. Those at a penny each. I have only 4 pence. I'll throw in 2 extra. Aren't you hungry? Oh, yes. I'm very hungry. And I'm much obliged to you for your kindness. There's a child outside who is hungrier than I am. Thank you again. The beggar girl was still huddled up in the corner. She looked frightful in her wet and dirty rags. She was staring straight before her with a look of suffering, and Sarah saw her rub away the tears from her eyes with her roughened hand. Sarah took out one of the hot buns, which had already warmed her own cold hands a little. See, this is nice and hot. Eat it, and you won't feel so hungry. Starving. But I'm not starving. Goodbye. Goodbye. Sarah found some comfort in her remaining bun. At all events, it was better than nothing. She broke off small pieces and ate them slowly to make them last longer. Suppose it was a magic bun, and a bite